have we had a week in Delaware politics like last week? This is State of Play. Here with me are Stephanie Hansen, former Newcastle County Council President, now with the law firm of Young, Conaway, Stargett and Taylor. Also here is Michael Stafford. He is an attorney and syndicated columnist whose work has been featured on MSNBC. Welcome. I want to start with you, Michael, because you're not too convinced. Well, let's start with the big news first. Attorney General Beau Biden announced that he will not run for re-election, instead run for governor 2016, but you're not too convinced. Tell me why.
Well, I'm not convinced. I mean, I think health permitting is the caveat that announcement has to come with. I think if Beau's healthy, he runs. But is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be able in 2016 to go out and endure the rigors of a campaign? And at least to me, at this point, that's an open question. I mean, we're talking about a man who has had a couple of serious health conditions, one of which is still somewhat of a mystery and is unexplained. We don't know what the prognosis is long term for him. I think everybody, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, is praying that he's going to be okay. We all hope for that. But until we know something firm about what the condition is, what the prognosis is, it's really a bit of a crapshoot.
Did his announcement shock you at all?
Yes and no. I mean, he's essentially disappeared for a significant period of time. It's had an impact on his ability to I think at least to do the role of his office. I'm thinking back to the recent gun bill down in Dover, where I mean the AG's office was sort of AWOL when it came up for a vote. So you can't go out and campaign. You can't be the Attorney General and not be present and not be out at the meetings and not be doing your job. And I think his health has just really impeded him in that. So,
what about you, Stephanie? Were you shocked? Many people were.
Well, I was surprised at the timing because it seemed early. I mean, we're talking about 2016, an election that's going to happen in 2016, and we haven't even had the 2014 election yet.
That's true.
But I think strategically it makes sense because if he really wants to run for that office, and apparently he does, this is a good way to clear the field. Because if you've got Beau Biden that wants a particular office in 2016, there aren't too many people that are going to be able to challenge him and to challenge him successfully. And I think it's his way of getting out there early and putting to rest maybe some thoughts of others that might have wanted to run because they're like, well, Beau's running, so I need to step back.
Do you think his health will actually be an issue?
I think it depends on how he handles it. I mean, if he's he appears at this point to be upfront and beginning to talk about it. This is what it is. This is how I've been treated. I'm fine. Let's move on. So long as he is upfront and treats it that way and doesn't let it become the elephant in the living room at every event. Once it becomes the elephant in the living room consistently and it begins to take over the campaign, then that's a problem because then he can't get his message out.
Okay. Well, we have two clips about Beau's health. One is from a 2010 interview with Bill Cook, another from last February, not too long after his surgery in Houston, but the first one, 2010, and it was right after his stroke. Let's take a look.
Now, it's hard to believe, but last May you suffered a mild stroke. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm back running, not just running for office, running,
right.
Literally running. Went for a run over the weekend and run 2 or 3 days a week, 4 days a week if I'm lucky, taking an aspirin a day. And I got back from Iraq, the best shape of my life. Didn't think I'd land myself in a hospital last spring, but did. And I feel great. I appreciate you asking that. I'm in good shape. I got very lucky. I got blessed.
And how are you feeling right now?
I feel great. How about you?
Oh, not too bad.
We can run with me later today
Okay.
after 5 o'clock.
Not good on cardio. I can do a bike.
All right.
Do you
Good.
ride a bike at all?
I do bike. I bike, but mostly run.
Yeah.
Mostly run.
Yeah.
Still do. Back running. So Randall's going to go running with me. You know.
You talk to me.
Yeah. I talked to him.
Well,
I got a clean bill of health. I'm very, very lucky, and I want to thank everyone, especially at Thanksgiving, who've reached out to me. And since August, I've been back at work since September 4th, and responded to a lot of emails and text messages and phone calls and letters, and I couldn't be more grateful to people.
While both interviews definitely sound similar, do you think voters in Delaware will actually care about his past if he says he's pretty much healthy now?
I think it's absolutely going to be an issue because, again, It's one thing to have an AG who's had a couple of serious health problems that have, for a period of time at least, kind of removed him from being able to effectively exercise the office. Having that person be the governor takes it to a whole nother level. And so I think it's going to be an issue with the media. It's going to be a line of questioning he's going to get. It's going to be an issue with whoever his opponent is, because it gives them something they can hammer away against.
So he should tell us what he's actually battling.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we're not talking about a private citizen.
Yeah.
A private citizen, their personal health issues are really nobody's business. But when you're a public figure in elected office, particularly high elected office, and your health is impacting your ability to exercise that office, the people have a right to know.
Well, let's move on to Lieutenant Governor Matt Dinn. He's been in the news as well. Let's go to a clip. He basically changes his political agenda.
We have a big crime problem in the state of Delaware, and particularly in the city of Wilmington, and that's got to be a priority in that office, is bringing those numbers down and bringing down the number of victims of those crimes, and that spills over into all sorts of different areas in terms of what the business climate is here, but most importantly, they're just human tragedies that we have to reduce the numbers of.
So Matt Dinn is going after the attorney, he'll run for Attorney General. Is that a good move?
I think so. Matt is a very good and effective public official. I mean, he was great as the insurance commissioner. I mean, being able to take an office that nobody knew anything about and didn't have any idea what was going on, and really institute some really good changes and good policies in there. I think to a degree he's kind of been put on ice as the lieutenant governor. I mean, what's the lieutenant governor been doing? What do they normally do? As attorney general, I think that it's better suited for him to be in a position where he can exercise a little bit more authority and have a little more ability to impact people in their lives, because he is a smart guy. He's a good worker. I think it's a good move for him. I think it's a good move for the people in Delaware.
Okay.
But his vulnerability the very first words out of his mouth in the video clip we just watched highlight the weakness of the candidacy. Delaware has a crime problem. He doesn't have a background in criminal justice or criminal law. That's a vulnerability. I mean, if we had a legitimate opposition party that could field a credible candidate, they'd be able to exploit that. We'll see whether a credible candidate emerges.
Well, definitely 2014 just got interesting. We know, I wonder what's going through the headquarters at both parties. What do you think Charlie Copeland is doing? You think he's rubbing his hands with going right about now?
Oh, I'm sure that he is. You talk about Charlie.
I think he's looking at a very dusty Rolodex and thinking, my God, who are we? This is an opportunity we can't miss. These don't come around too often. We've got to be able to take advantage of it.
Okay.
Whether they're able to or not, I don't know.
What about you, Stephanie?
I don't know who they have ready to go. I mean, there's the auditor that's up in 2014, and there's the state treasurer. I mean, I'm not really hearing a whole lot that the party's doing at this point, and I'm not really hearing any big names from the Republican Party. Where's Charlie? How come Charlie's not running?
Well, we'll find out. It does give us something to talk about. So, as we like to say, stay tuned. Stephanie Hansen and Michael Stafford, thanks for being here on State of Play. You can watch this interview at newsworks.org/Delaware. Click the drop-down box at the top of the page.